Okay, hi everybody. I'm Varrus. It's my friend William Shieldbiter in the background here, and that's Vlad. And there's a Stefan running around here somewhere. You'll see him. Today we're going to show you how to put on a plastic shield edge, so you can for your shield that'll last a little bit longer. Okay, so the shield edge, when it's done, this is my shield I've been fighting with for a couple of years. It's going to look a lot like that. You can see it's got a fairly clean edge, easy to work with. I've used black paint to clean it up, but it's really quite smooth, as you can see there. The things that you're going to need to do this shield, if Sean was, well, there's another one you can see that was recently done. It's got a nice clean edge. It's only about a ½ inch of reveal on the sides, and it's nice and smooth. You can see where the two pieces of plastic come together there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Alright, so Sean moves. I'll show you the equipment we need. So you are going to need a small torch. We like the map gas, the yellow stuff in there, because it's nice and hot. You're also going to need a tiger torch because it gives you a lot of heat. It gives you nice even heat through the plastic. A pair of insulated gloves. We like winter work gloves. And then what you do is take a scrap piece of the plastic that you're going to use, heat it up until it catches on fire, let it drip on the gloves, and then rub it together until you get a nice even coating. You're basically putting a Teflon coat on your gloves, and that'll help keep the gloves from sticking to the edges you're putting it on. It's also helpful to have a couple of odds and ends scrap pieces of wood to hold the plastic if you need to reheat or protect the shield, which is what that sheet of plastic there is. So the plastic we use is puckboard. We like 3/16 puckboard. Comes in a sheet. There's a small piece of it there. Usually comes in a 4x8 sheet, and we cut it into about, depending on the thickness of your shield, if your shield's a ½ inch, you're going to need about a 3/4 inch or a 1 inch strip of plastic, but that's up to you. The only advice I have for you there is bring your sheet home in a 4x8 and cut it into 8-foot lengths. That's usually enough to do a single shield in one strip. Alright, so good thing to do is preheat it. So if you get your tiger torch going, what you're after is a nice even heat. This will take a few minutes, and when you get it there, you'll be able to it should bend easily with your hands, but it should not be on fire, it should not be dripping, and if it's really glossy or starting to stretch on under its own weight, it's too hot. Alright, so we've got it nice and hot. It's just about the right temperature to bend, so I'm going to try to get a close-up here. The trick is, guys, that whatever you do, don't squish it. You want to mold it to the wood. So if you are squishing the plastic thinner, you're not doing it right. Alright, so you can see how they're holding it down and not squishing it, not stretching it. Here's where you want it to look like when you're done. You can see how it's nice and even. Now the edges might stick up away from the shield a little bit as you go around. You want to avoid that if you can, but if they do stick up, it's not a big deal. You just come back later with the map gas, the smaller torch, heat it up again, and stick those particular spots back down. Now remember, what you're after is a nice even heat in the plastic, and squish it. Do not squish it. Mold it to the wood. Alright, now here you go. As we go around, we'll heat it up some more. It should already have some heat into it from the heating it took earlier, so this should only take a second or a minute. Should back up a little bit. Another thing to consider when you're doing this is that if you have a top or a bottom to your shield, you want to do the bottom first, so that if you have any overlapping joints, they'll be overlapped from the top to the bottom, so that you don't end up with something to catch shield edges or sword edges. It's not a big deal if you do it that way. You can always smooth them out, and they're easy to deal with, but it's just something to think about. Now, all those black spots on the shield, that was a failed attempt that we had earlier. We tried to do something new. It didn't work out, so we knocked the plastic off of it. We're starting again. So all those rough edges, don't worry about those. They won't be on your shield. So here's where a good preheating comes in handy. I guess we were doing a video, so we got a little ahead of ourselves. We didn't have a good heat throughout the whole piece of plastic, which is why we're doing this. So the next piece should go a little bit easier, but you'll see how it's coming together. Okay, here we go. We're on the second one. You see how nice and clean they come together? Go ahead and grab the heat there. I'm just gonna look over your shoulder here, Sean. And you can see where the two come together, a little bit of an overlap, right where his thumb is. That later is where we're gonna put a rivet through there just to make sure the two pieces stay together.
Stefan, hold there.
Sean, do you want to get rotating this thing?
Yep. Let's keep it up. Let's go.
Guys, can you just loosen that off and rotate the shield? Remember to put blocks in there to protect the edge like we did there. That's so you don't ruin the plastic edge, because it'll stay hot and squishy for a while. Are you tightening it there maybe? Try going the other way. There you go. Maybe we'll edit that part out for you, maybe we won't. Okay, nice and easy with the shield so the plastic doesn't get buggered up. Keep on going all the way around. Keep going. There you go, keep going. Nice. Unfortunately, due to a plastic cutting error, that's that 8-foot thing I was telling you about, we're going to have to put 3 seams in this shield. But if you cut your plastic correctly, that should not be a problem. 1 8-foot strip should go all the way around a typical shield, even an oval like this one. Yeah, start folding it over there, Matthew.
It's hard to hear one at the end.
Okay. Here we go for the final touches. Heating up the 2 ends just so that they will melt a little bit together with the other plastic. Sean, remember that one's a bit short and thicker, so you'll need to stretch it a bit.
I'm going to grab the map desk, we need to go here on the first side. Stick hold this one here as well.
Hey?
Stick. Let it burn.
Now, have you guys heard that or not? But the advice is don't let it burn, and that's a good thing. Don't let it burn. Okay, the heat's getting through his gloves. Somebody take over. So, another really important safety tip, guys, if you think that it's a good idea to get your gloves wet because that'll be cooler, you're wrong. Very hot plastic and water makes steam, and let me tell you, it hurts like a mother. You're going to need a lot of beer if you do that. Alright, so now the plastic's on. All they're doing is holding it until it's cool enough that it's going to keep the shape. They're not pulling it down, not trying to thin it at all. They're just trying to mold it around the piece of wood and get it to keep the shape. If it's a little tacky on the inside, it will stick to the wood, makes it harder to get off. There are guys who have taken these shield edges, and that guy right there, he's one of them, fights with a heater. He knocks the plastic edge off of his heater, cuts an exact replica, and puts the exact same material back on the same shield. He's done that about a dozen times now with his shield, because it goes through the wood faster than the plastic. So remember, you need nice even heat. You don't want to burn it, and you don't want to squish it. You just need to mold it to the wood. A very, very important part here too that I may have forgotten to mention is that no air bubbles. If there is any air gaps between the wood and the plastic, that is the spot that it will break. Any air gap in there gives it a spot where it can bend, and the plastic is going to be really brittle. It'll just break. But if it's nice and close against the wood, no air gaps, you should not have a problem. These shields should last a long, long time. Okay, earlier we talked about having a small torch in order to keep to fix little touch-ups and stuff. So this one, as it cooled, it started to come apart. So you can see he's using that little torch just to heat it up locally, and he's going to smooth it up, smooth it out, and fix it up. So you can see how it's kind of bumpy. It's where the two pieces come together. When he moves around the other side, I'm going to get a little closer for you. You can see how it is. Now we'll just watch him fix that. That's also where the rivet will go to hold the two pieces together. You can leave it a glossy the way you can see it there if you just let that cool the way it is, or as it cools off, take your gloves and just rub the plastic lightly. You're going to get a nice matte finish. That's where he's going for the matte finish there. Come in here, have a look at it now that you got it nice and smooth. You can see how the two surfaces made together well. Nothing to really catch a shield edge or clothing, skin. Nothing to get the marshals upset about. And that's also where we're going to put the rivet in just a second. Now we're at the point where we've got to put a rivet into it. So if you get a close up right here, you can see where the overlap is. So that's the top edge of the one piece, and then the other piece is right about there. And it's the same on both sides. So I'm going to take my drill, and I'm going to pop it right on through, just like that. Take your nail, just set it on the anvil, I'm going to hammer it through. So take your nail through that hole. It's nice to do this when the plastic's still a little bit warm. Get that nail right into the plastic. The anvil. I need to get a pair of clippers. Wasn't thinking. Alright. So, clip that nail off. I like to use steel nails because they seem to last a lot longer. Now, a little bit of magic. Put your washer on there to hold it down, and then a piece of tape. It might seem silly, but after you do this once, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Pause it again. Alright, so make sure your nail is nice and flat, and then using your peening hammer, you don't have to do anything fancy, just let the hammer do the work. You don't want to smash it. If you smash it hard, you're just going to bend the nail in the wood and it's not going to do the job. Nice and easy. You can see how it's starting to plant its over. You want to get a little closer. Just nice and easy. Let the hammer do the work. Don't get excited. Take your time. That should probably be enough. Let's have a look. Yeah, nicely peened over nail, washer. That's it. We're going to do that for each of anywhere it overlaps. We're going to put a rivet in, and that's it. All you need now is a boss and a handle. Done. Okay, guys. I hope that video worked out and helped you, or helps you to build a plastic shield edge if that's what you're interested in. I'd like to take a moment and thank my friend William Shieldbiter, who was the first one to ever teach me how to do that plastic edge, and thanks to him we've had some shields last a decade of constant fighting. So it's been pretty fantastic. So thank you, William. I'd like to also thank Stefan and Vladimir, who you saw in the video and helped make that shield. It was the very first time ever doing that, and I think they did a fantastic job. So if you have any questions, you can probably find me on Facebook. Look up Varrus Lupus. I'm from Abacal. You should come up with my Facebook page and you identify me from the Fighting Pics. Alright, happy fighting. Have a good day. Thanks.